Hey everybody, welcome to our CIO series on AI. Today I'm very excited to have with me Chris Colangelo, AVP of Business Technology and AI from Verizon. So Chris, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So why don't you explain to our audience a little bit what your role is about at Verizon?
Yeah, so my team is primarily responsible for coming up with the strategies and solutions for how do we empower our sellers to deliver better customer experiences, leveraging AI to be faster and to beat the competition. And we also work on marketing technology and marketing AI to completely reinvent the way that we communicate with our customers.
Wow, that sounds super important.
Yeah.
All right, so you must be having a lot of fun in your role now. One of the things that I always wonder is how do you prioritize, what to do with all the AI technology that's out there?
Yeah, so the first thing that we look at when we talk about prioritization of use cases is first to not use AI like a brand new buzzsaw.
Yeah.
You buy a new buzzsaw and then you come around and you're looking for, what can I cut with it? Yeah. So the first thing that we look at is to say, hey, put AI to the side for a second and start to look through what are the problems that you actually have to solve. And the challenge with AI right now is that AI can almost do anything, but that doesn't mean you should use AI for that process.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we look at is, one, how big is the problem?
Yeah.
Is AI uniquely poised to solve that problem?
Okay.
And then you're running it almost like a traditional, business case, type of thing that you would do.
Yeah.
But we're using AI to completely reimagine that experience to give competitive advantages. But you have to start with having a very clear business problem that AI can uniquely solve.
And what are some of these business problems that has been top of your mind that you're thinking of? Just to give an example for the audience.
Yeah, so some of the biggest business problems that we've had is how do we communicate to our customers faster with a higher level of intelligence, especially for lower trained reps. So you can have representatives that are lower trained on the product portfolio. Some of our products are highly unique and specific. Verizon, we have very technical solutions that, and a lot of products that people have not even heard of before.
Yeah.
And so now we have AI tools that help with giving reps the knowledge bases that they can ask chats to ask questions about.
Yeah.
Personalized value propositions to our customers. And we even have AI that will read a customer's email, go search in the systems, find out what their customer is trying to look for, research their orders, see the status, troubleshoot, and then come back and provide those responses that then the sales rep can review and then send to their customers. So the humans are still there. They're still doing the work. But all of this research piece has really been kind of eliminated and moved, and it's significantly faster, which is giving us better customer experience.
So really you're augmenting the humans with AI.
Absolutely.
And that's what we believe at Outreach too, is that AI actually helps people become more productive. So you do what you're good at. So we say that, hey, let reps do what they do best, which is selling to customers, and let AI do the rest.
Yeah.
So you talked about problems, and you talked about, hey, find the problems that you want to solve first, and then apply AI to that in the context of business processes. That's really what you said. So how do you get adoption for AI? Is that a challenge, or how do you?
It's a huge challenge. It's anyone who's telling you that's not a challenge would be lying to you.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that we first look at is when we prioritize our use cases, we actually look for adoption mitigation.
Okay.
And so in an ideal world, you're optimizing for 100% adoption. And so you're looking to say, is there a systemic lever, that a switch that I can flip in order to get overnight adoption automatically?
Okay.
And there are some use cases where you're able to get that, and we call them almost background type of AI.
Yeah.
Or things where you have an existing workflow that sales reps have to go through a particular set of steps. And if you have to go through a set of steps in, for example, a UI, I can now change that flow where you can't proceed without interacting with the AI agents. That'll give you 100% adoption overnight. So those are the things that we're looking at, and we have specific meetings to say, okay, what is the adoption risk of a particular project, and if we don't have these levers that I discussed for turning something on automatically or running a task in the background, then we evaluate if we should actually do it or not, and it definitely lowers it in the prioritization.
So you do that analysis upfront, actually, before you even kick off the project.
We do it up front. Now, look, some of this is from battle scars.
Yeah.
We've launched out products. If you build a generic AI product that, even though it could be highly popular, requires your early adopters and then them to share with their friends, and you do your go-to-market activities, it could still take 3 to 6 months to achieve maturity.
That's right.
And that can become painful, that even internally to your company, you can feel like you're a startup of trying to push your own products inside of the company. Versus we have some other solutions. I'll give you an example. We take all the sales conversations that happen, and we're able to run AI on top of those conversations. We have a LLM that understands how those conversations went and if we left anything on the table for our customers. And then we were able to reroute those calls to better trained representatives to then reach out to those customers and discuss what was missed. And the customers are appreciating this, and we also have very high conversion rates. But that has 100% adoption because it happens in the background. It doesn't require a level of...
It happens in the background, and it just takes a lot of the grunt work off the plate for reps. And really, they appreciate the value of this, right? That's why their adoption is so much higher.
Yeah.
And so we also have things like, for example, a research agent in Outreach, which actually listens into all your conversations and then researches your account for you, so you don't have to do that. It's the same idea that you shouldn't have to do all this manual work. If the AI can do it for you, then it's saving a whole ton of work.
Right? Exactly.
So, Chris, you are talking to a lot of vendors, and you are seeing a lot of technology. A lot of people are coming to you and saying, "Hey, buy my stuff. I can do this for you." So, how do you decide, where to work with whom, when you want to build something in-house, with what technology, and when you want to buy something which is off the shelf? How do you make that decision? What's your decision-making process on that?
So, when it comes to AI right now, your build versus buy, you're going to be buying a significant portion of the tech stack. Even when you're building, you're still buying several of the major components and ingredients are kind of be coming through some of the vendors.
The platforms.
And the thing that we're looking at is, when you talk about your very large infrastructure, you want to be slow to buy and really methodical about the decisions that you're making there. And then we're doing a lot of experimentation at the top layers. So the things that we're looking at are, is there a capability in market already? And in those situations, you almost certainly want to buy, especially if it's something non-trivial. For example, you could say, I want to have AI create a PowerPoint deck or something like that. Well, you could build that in-house, but getting to the right level of quality, it doesn't make sense. So you would then work with a vendor, you buy something like that. There's other areas like what we talked about with email. When we started that, there was no market offering. No one could do that with the first-party data that we have and the tool calling that we have.
Unique data as well.
So it's heavy integrated on the data, and so therefore we would build that. And the way we're looking at this is not to say we're married to even our own internal buys. It's more of how can I get a strategic advantage of the market? Anywhere from 6 to 18 months is good enough for us. So if we see that as 6 to 18 months, because the thing that you'll see is even if you build something internally, you have to build that muscle to be able to then even pair into a vendor solution or whatever it may be. So that's the biggest thing is you have to get the teams and the change management started and things like that. But then as you get a better solution that comes along, you want to jump on that, and very likely the quality will be better than potentially some internal solutions. And it's okay to actually build and re-architect. And I would say anyone who's already built, because we face this all the time. It's, well, we built this. Do we need to keep it, or should I now buy the vendor solution?
Continuous innovation.
Continuous, yeah.
You want to be ahead of the curve.
That's right.
You want to build stuff that gives you the 6 to 18 months advantage.
That's right.
At the same time, if there are things which are generic, then you want to procure that from vendors. But things which are specific to your data, specific to your process, that gives you a competitive advantage, you want to build that.
We're building that with, again, a series of obviously partner CRM partners and things like that. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, awesome. That's actually what we are hearing across the board from a lot of other CIOs as well. That seems to be the best practice that you're following already. So, we talked a lot about, how do you get started with AI? What are your adoption parameters? When do you decide on building versus buying? and you're seeing a lot of success already. So what advice do you have, Chris, for others who wants to get started on a journey similar to you?
Yeah, I would say that no matter what you do, you just have to start. I had shared with you before, I'm getting a pilot's license. You learn how to fly.
Yeah.
You can study as much as you want on the ground, okay? But until you start getting the reps and getting the experience, that's what's critical.
So you mean like, me like playing around with drones and stuff is not going to cut it?
It's not going to cut it. There's nothing like, because a lot of the stuff you might think it's easy. In some situations, it'll be easier than you thought.
Yeah.
In some situations, it's going to be a lot harder than you think.
Yeah.
The change management is a lot harder than people think. The adoption is a lot harder than people think. The technology, in some situations, depending on the build versus buy, can actually be okay. And these are the things that you have to get the teams ready to think in these terms, to understand what AI can actually do versus what is business fundamentals.
Yeah.
Going back to this earlier piece of prioritization.
Yeah.
Because some people will just build a bunch of cool, sexy products and then realize, wait a second, we're not getting business value. It was really cool when I introduced it, but now I'm in the board meeting and people are asking how it's doing. These conversations are not going well.
Yeah. A lot of these projects don't go anywhere also, right? Like you mentioned that to me as well. Like
a lot of them don't, because it's very easy to build POCs.
Yes.
It's hard to productionalize and scale.
Yeah.
Right. And you see, especially a lot of the vendors are putting some sprinkling on top of some AI solutions, but it's not built into workflow.
No.
And that's when you're seeing.
That's the thing that you really resonated with me when you said that it's not built into the workflow, because in the end, the workflow is what comes back to what the problem that you're trying to solve. You're trying to basically build in AI into the workflows, because that's the problem. You're trying to make the workflows more efficient. That's what you're trying to do, right? So your suggestion is, don't go about dreaming you're going to fly a plane, but when you're just flying drones. Yeah. Make sure you get into the cockpit and you try it out yourself. Is that what?
Yeah, and I would say pick a very specific problem that has a very high level of business value.
Yeah.
And move into your pilots as quickly as possible with a plan to actually scale them out, not just to stay in pilot forever.
That's very, very sound advice. Yeah. And I think our viewers will really appreciate that. So with that, thank you very much, Chris, for being here. It was a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you very much.